Hey friends out there in YouTube land or however else you found me. I'm Robert Hamm with RobertHammPhotography.com, and today we're going over school portrait photography. And I hope you're excited because it's something I get asked questions about a lot, and I've made a couple videos, but most importantly, I like to update them, so here is the update. Before we get started, just remember one important thing. My channel can only grow with your help. Please, if you find this video helpful, like, subscribe, share, and if you have any comments or questions, don't be afraid to leave them down below. One of the most enjoyable things as a photographer is to gain additional accounts. So when you think about your photography business and you think about your business growing, one measure of growth is how often you interact with other businesses. Whether that's corporate headshots, whether that's website photos, whether that's stock photography for like a micro stock site, or whether that's other portrait venues. Now for me, obviously I'm a wedding photographer and a family photographer, so finding out ways to become entrenched with photography around my area, specifically homeschool associations as well as smaller daycares and as also day schools, is very important. And what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to go ahead and play some video for you. I want to share with you what it looks like when I go into a school. As you can see with the video right now, I'm not really in a very large room. And what I need to do is be able to shoot diagonally to get the most out of the space. Also, when you're watching, notice a couple things. Before we even talk about equipment, I'd like for you to think about how you can see me interacting with the students as they come in. Notice I'm greeting them when the teacher brings them in if I don't know their name, which I know pretty much everybody's name at this school, but if I don't know their name, the teacher always announces who the student is as they're coming in. That gives me the ability to greet the student by name with a great smile. I've got my son there. He's the one controlling the camera right now, so I hope it's not too shaky for you. And I get the chance to chit-chat with the kiddo, especially for little 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds. You know, I'm going to photograph all the students in this school in this room, but when you start off with the younger kids, you know, you gotta really make them smile, and they love hearing their name. So speaking in kind of a sing-song voice and being nice and kind to them is helpful. However, more importantly than just that, it's having a good plan and a good understanding of what's happening. I'm shooting inside of a room with multiple mixed lighting sources. We've got a window that's pouring in light, and I'm trying to shoot in the darkest part of the room so that I can use my flash to illuminate the subjects. Now, the reason that that's important is because I want to synchronize all of my camera images with the flash light. I don't want to sync based on any other light in the room. So I'm going to take a white balance based on my flash and a composition that's going to include my background and a student. So I'm just going to take a white balance off of that, and that's going to help me capture the best white balance going into it. Here, as you can see, I'm shooting with 3 different lights. Well, I'm sure you can see 2 of them. I've got a halo, which is an umbrella that's going to light up a little bit of the background, but also rim light my students, right? I've got an Apollo, which is a softbox that's going to be the modeling light, the main light for the students right at their face, and that's right beside me, you know, very close to beside me. And then I'm using another flash that's going to light up the background. I've got a snoot on a Gary Fong light sphere, got a little snoot in it with a little gel that's going to help light up the background. And that's important because in the end images, what you're going to see is a natural vignette and a little bit of post-processing in order to help a vignette come about just a little bit. But that effect is not going to be caught in camera. The in-camera image is going to be nice, tonally exposed well, but relatively flat. For that, I'm also shooting JPEG plus RAW. However, I don't often use the RAW files unless I need them. The Fuji JPEGs are really good right out of the camera. So we're going to move into some additional images right now. Let's look at the final images. As you can see through here, they look really nice. I'm going through and picking and selecting the images. I've made all my raw images red so I can hide them, and now I'm just picking my images. I usually take 2 to 3 shots per child. And what that means is that I've got, with siblings, when we do sibling photos in the spring, I do 3 shots. That way I can take the best of 3. When I do shots for the kiddos, the individuals, I usually do 2 shots, and I take the best of the 2 shots. Normally everything is they're pretty much the same. The only thing that's changing is maybe focus. I'll notice my focus was off, or I'm trying to get a better smile or a posture out of the kid. So now that I've made my selections, I move into my editing. It's really nice to be able to edit on the surface. It makes it simple to work with. In fact, I'm going to lean back in the chair now and make it a little bit easier for me. So you've got a view coming over my shoulder, and I'm just chilling, just enjoying editing some photos. And you can see that these images are really beginning to pop and stand out. So there's 101 individual students that I photographed today, and I probably have less than an hour total post-production time. And it's because I did a lot of planning. I put together everything so that it looked good. I had a very good input. My exposure values, I'm just adjusting per child in order to make sure that darker skin tones and lighter skin tones aren't either overexposed or underexposed. And we're dealing with kiddos, right? And what's really nice is that their face is already very soft, but you got to zoom in here. You got to look, because lots of times there will be things on the kid's face, little blemishes, like cradle cap or a booger. Not really pimples so much, not with this age of students. So you want to make sure you go in there and take care of that, and you just kind of give it a nice once-over. Now, if you notice, these don't look like your regular portrait pictures for school. It's not like you're some guy standing up against a meadow or a field. That's because I don't want my images to look like that. I want my images to have a boutique in-studio photography feel, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You see, I encourage parents to purchase more images without saying a single word. All I do is make sure that my images look better and different than what the other schools are doing. Like if Life Touch or Olin Mills is out there doing photography, or if you go to JCPenney's, you're going to see a completely different kind of look. And each school that I have a contract with, I photograph at least twice a year for a student portrait. And that means that I've got the opportunity to do safe types of shots with regular backgrounds in the winter, where most people purchase prints and photos. And then in the spring, when I do sibling photos, I also have the ability to make additional sales because it looks completely different. It looks more boutique. So we've got school-sponsored stuff that I'm going to use for class pictures and individual shots in the winter. I've got sibling and a little pop of boutique feel in the spring. And that's how I go back and forth. Finally, we're done, and so I've got some images that are popping up on screen now, just so that you can kind of see these final images as they're coming across. They look really great, and I'm very proud of it. We have a great time, and it's a lot of fun. What does that look like for me? Well, coming back here to the office, as you can see, I've got my kiddos. I'm able to put on the little logo for the school and everything, and I print all of this stuff in-house. 8x10s up to 13x19s are all printed up right here by the D&P DS80. Does up to 8x10s or 8x12s. And if I need something, I can use my Epson for up to 13x19. And so it's really nice to have a one-stop shop. So I can go from 2.5 hours at the school from setup to teardown. I photograph about 30 kids an hour. When I'm there, I was there, photographed 3 hours, got about 100 kids, and now I'm able to come home and do an hour worth of post-production and then send out the print proofs for purchase. It's pretty simple. Guys, I hope that you found this video helpful. I'm Robert Hamm with Robert Hamm Photography. Please don't forget to like and comment, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to help you if I can. You can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at RobHammPhoto.